Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and now for a video that we've all been waiting for. My top 5 episodes of SpongeBob Season 9. So let's jump right into this, shall we? Number 5, Mall Girl Pearl. Let's be real, Pearl is not an amazing character. She's your typical, kind of bratty 16-year-old girl. She likes boy bands and being cool. No, this episode is number 5 because it is 100% a breath of fresh air in a show that has been going on for over 200 episodes. There was a very conscious effort here to make this episode different. New setting, different protagonist, and a larger focus on background continuity jokes. And while yes, Larry's Gym did do something similar, I think Mall Girl Pearl beats it out because it doesn't need to rely on SpongeBob at all to carry the story. And make no mistake, I'm not saying it's good just because it's different. It's the fact that it's different, but also enjoyable. Betty White makes a wonderful guest star, and the story, though not incredibly crazy or anything, is still very satisfying to watch. Pearl is likable and you understand her motivations. The friendship seems genuine and sweet, and there are some really solid gags in here, not even counting the ones that are just in the background. It's episodes like this that help the show from falling into mediocrity again. Number 4, Bulletin Board. Now you might have expected that this episode was going to land higher on the top 5, and honestly, before really thinking about it, I kind of thought it would too. After all, the metaphor for this episode being about the internet is amazingly clever, and there's some really funny gags in there related to it. But the reason why this is lower on the list is just the fact that the literal story does kind of suffer a little bit. Like when you get right down to it, the middle of the episode is just a lot of characters reacting to things that have been written on the board. Not much story progress is happening. And then when we finally get to the climax and Krabs, SpongeBob, and Squidward stake out to see who is the one posting all of these messages, they find out it's Patrick, and then Mr. Krabs destroys the board and they all go knitting. I mean, I'm not saying I wanted them to beat up Patrick or anything, because he did seem to have a good heart in all of this, but from a story perspective, it is a little bit of an anticlimax. Like the episode should have been building to something greater or more interesting. I don't know, maybe Krabs destroying the bulletin board in plain sight and all of the other customers trying desperately to save their notes or something? Or perhaps some sort of scene where Patrick is desperately trying to disguise who he is while hiding behind a bunch of notes, maybe? I don't know exactly what could have been done, but I do think that the literal story of the episode could be made to be a little bit more interesting. Not that it's bad, it just doesn't have a lot going on. And if you're thinking, wow, he's being really negative on an episode that he put as the 4th best episode of the season, just remember that I do still think very highly of it, and the only reason why I'm not gushing about it is because, well, I already did that in the actual review. And I find that top 5s and bottom 5s are a lot more interesting when I try to justify my position on why something is either higher or lower or on the list or not on the list, rather than just straight up repeat my opinions from the actual reviews. Number 3, Sandy's Nut Mare. This is just an all-around good episode. I wouldn't say that it really amazingly excels at any one or two aspects, but rather that every aspect of the episode is just really good. Good guest star, funny jokes, good moral, a sequence with a unique art style. It's Sandy-focused, a character who doesn't get that much attention compared to other main characters. I even like the fact that it's about Sandy's tree, which is something that's in most of the episodes that she is in, but doesn't really get to do much ordinarily. This episode is the opposite of a nightmare. In fact, it's not a nightmare. It's a nutmare. Ooh, that one was bad. Number 2, Pineapple Invasion. Okay, so the reason this beats out almost every other episode in the season is just that I think that this episode is really, really funny. Funnier than most post-movie episodes. The my leg joke, Gary curb-stomping Plankton, Plankton trashing SpongeBob's house, SpongeBob's reaction to his trashed house, Krabs being overly articulate in how he describes how dumb Plankton is, Plankton after he's been messed up by the fumes inside Gary's shell, the doctor who hates noseless people, when the fish send the skunk back up to the surface but instead floats right into the city of Bikini Bottom. Even weird stuff like Krabs using SpongeBob's arm for a nose made me laugh. I truly cannot overstate how funny I think this episode is. And beyond that, it features a memorable opening set piece and a great team up, or rivalry, I guess in this case. The only complaint that I have is that I wish that the opening had been just a little bit shorter so that there could have been more time for Gary and Plankton to play off of each other, but that's just a relatively minor thing, and I do still really like the opening. So, here we are at number 1, and there hasn't been a 9A episode on the list yet, which means that either Planktons Pet is number 1, or it didn't make the list, and I have no 9A episodes on here. And my number 1 favorite episode of SpongeBob Season 9 is Planktons Pet. Yeah, the best 2 episodes of Season 9, in my opinion, both involve plankton and a pet. Anyway, do I really need to say how great this episode is? I'm sure you've all heard it by now. It's an episode so good that it would fit in not just with the first 3 seasons, but with some of the best episodes from the first 3 seasons. Plankton is almost always a fun character. It's a story archetype that has proven to work very well. There's a lot of great dark humor and other jokes about Spot being really small, and there's a fun climax, with some good twists that are loosely based in real-life science. Also, something that doesn't get pointed out too much is the fact that SpongeBob and Plankton actually bond pretty nicely in the episode. Plankton actually thanks SpongeBob for helping him look for Spot. It really shows how dynamic of a character Plankton is. So yeah, put this one up there as another one of my favorites from the post-movie era. Right up there with No Hat for Pat and It's a SpongeBob Christmas. I hope you all enjoyed this list and can at least understand my reasoning. And with that, Pie Guy Rules